Welcome to The Longest Turn. This is episode 76, Shelf of Shame. My name is Tyler.
Hello, this is Kevin.
This is Tyson.
In this episode, we're going to talk about some of the games we've been playing lately. Then we're going to get into our Shelf of Shame, review last year's shelf, and see how we did.
Right.
For those that are not familiar with this episode, or this, you're newer to the podcast, right? This is our annual tradition. Every year we go over our Shelf of Shame. I'm excited. I think historically I've performed poorly on this list, and I think I've done better on this list.
This is going to be bad for me.
Yeah.
This is going to be bad.
I've had a good year and a bad year. No, I started out with a bad year, then a good year. This is going to be another bad year of progress.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you can count your last year that was a good year as a good year. You finished all of the games on your Shelf of Shame within the last week.
Yes, the week before we recorded, right?
That is within the rules of the game.
It is within the rules of the game. You also picked games that like 5 hours to play each or something like that. Like very heavy games.
With this last year especially, that was part of the brutality of my Shelf of Shame right now.
I had some shorter ones on there, and I still didn't get it done. I completely forgot. I think what happened is like we recorded, and then the week after, I'm like, guys,
what did I put on that list?
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't remember anymore. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And then we'll talk about our new shelf going forward for 2025.
Let's do it.
It's been a while.
It has. We've been on a slower recording schedule, and I don't know. That's okay, I guess.
Life has been a little hectic and busy, I think, for everybody to different extents. We have regular job woes, and we have side job woes, and we have all these things that are going on that I think has made it a little bit hard to find the time to sync up quite as well.
Yeah. Why do you have to do stuff to make money? You know?
Yeah. I know, right?
It's kind of
We've said it
kind of a
before,
bummer.
and I think we'll probably say it again.
Right.
It would be great to just be able to have enough money and be independently wealthy, and we could just play games all the time.
Yeah. We could put out like 5 episodes a week.
Yeah. Well,
okay, maybe not that much. But we actually play games in between.
It's Capcom all year long.
I don't know if our families would appreciate that, but hey.
No, but it would be fun to not have to work, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the end goal, at least somewhere down the line for all of us.
Yeah, when I'm dead. Right. I mean, hopefully sooner than that.
Okay. But I mean, we have had a chance to play some games.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we've been playing some games. I've been getting a lot of gaming in with my family. We had a big game night a couple weeks ago, and it's already time for another one this Saturday. So
yeah, that's right. So we got some good games to talk about.
Yeah, should we jump into those?
Let's do it.
You want to go first, Kevin?
Yeah, I'll go first. So no secret that Vladimir Suchy is one of my favorite designers. It's one of our. I think it's one of our favorite designers. A lot of great games that he's put out. Rio Grande Games was nice enough to send us some review copies, and one of those was Resafa. Or Resafa. I don't know how to actually pronounce this game, but we're going to go with Resafa. Okay. It's one of his latest designs. I've known about this ever since it was announced. Looking at the cover didn't really excite me.
It's one of the least appealing covers of the Vladimir Suchy games that I think I've seen.
Right. But because it's Vladimir Suchy, I'm like, of course. We're
trying it.
The Wood Forest Elves one was kind of meh.
Yeah,
Woodcraft.
Well, the cover was not.
No, the cover was great.
You had blue-haired people going around,
and I don't think that game was meh. It's just you didn't have
people, but
it was interesting. Is my point. There was something to draw me in. There's camel on this one, and there are about 80 billion games out there with camels on the front cover.
And there's a guy with a pot that's talking to a soldier. And there's camels. And I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't draw me in. But anyway, that doesn't matter, right? Okay, so theme of this game says Resafa takes place during the 3rd century AD in the area of today's Middle East. Resafa now lies in ruins in modern-day Syria, but at this time, it was a fortified desert outpost which flourished as a stop along important caravan routes. Now, if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will.
So, great cover and great theme is what you're telling me.
Still not too excited about it, right? So you're a merchant. Okay. And you're going to be doing merchant things. You're going to be trading and building canals and building workshops. And
never heard that one before.
Sounds
Right.
like Century Spice Road and
And it looks like Century Spice Road.
Marco Polo. And
yeah.
any number of other trading spice games.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay.
So still not too excited about it. But I'll explain a little bit about how it plays. It's a pretty meaty game, so I'm not going to go over all the rules, but I'll do some highlights of things that I think this game does really well and kind of give you hopefully a general feel of how it plays. So the main mechanic of this game is you have a hand of 6 action cards, and these action cards are two-sided, so you can flip it one way. There's an action on top associated with a color. You can turn it. There is another action associated with a different color. One of the cool things is everybody starts with a set of 6 cards, and all of the actions and color combinations are different for every player. Okay. So you're going to be playing 3 cards for each round. And the way it works is you'll select one of 3 cards in your hand. You start with 3 of your 6. You will place it above your player board with an action and color combination face up. Okay. You can take the color action or the regular action in any order that you want. All right. So color action has 3 things that you can do. You can take a bonus card. You can move along a track, one of 4 tracks along the bottom, or you can take what's called a sack card. And a sack card, it just gives you various bonuses in the game. All right.
Again, the naming scheme in this is not drawing you in either.
No, it's not. Okay. So that's the color bonus.
Get a sack.
Yeah, you get a sack of stuff, I guess.
There's
there's
a mystery prize. You don't know what's in the sack. It's just a sack.
It is. It's a mystery sack. Who doesn't like a mystery sack? All right.
It's like a loot box, but on the spice trading routes.
Yeah, or like a Mario question mark box,
Yeah,
right?
there you go. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so a little bit more about the color action. So the bonus cards will give you various bonuses. They'll give you resources. They'll allow you to do cool things in the game. They go in front of you, and they can be used at any time if there's an instant action, right? The tracks along the bottom. The first track is the yellow track. If you get to a certain spot on that yellow track, you can upgrade one of the action cards that's either in your hand or in your draw pile. So that action then for the rest of the game becomes even more powerful. There's 3 levels of cards on each of these tracks. And as you get further along in each level, you get cooler cards and things that you can do.
And the upgrades are like substantial upgrades. It's not like you just get a card and it's like, oh, this is a little bit better. It's significantly better.
Yep. And each track focuses on a different thing. So the first yellow track, like I mentioned, you swap out one of your action cards. The white track, it's associated with the garden and the workshop, which are other different things that you can do. The blue cards, they mostly focus on the canal or trading, which are other actions that you can do. So you can tailor your strategy on these tracks based on what you want your strategy to be, which is kind of cool. Okay. So that's the color action. Then you select either before or after your main action. Your main action will allow you to build workshops. Workshops are good for production. They're also good for when you build gardens. So when you build these workshops, then this is a little bit different. You put them in front of you where they're only touching corners. So you're going to have spaces in between these workshops. And the spaces in between the workshops are where you're going to build your gardens, which is another action that you can do. Gardens will give you bonuses, immediate bonuses when you build the garden. And when you complete a full garden, you fill up all the spaces between the workshops, then you get an in-game bonus as well. Okay. Talked a little bit about production. That's just an action that gives you goods and gives you stuff that you can build with. Talked a little bit about the garden construction, the canal construction. So there's on the right side of the board, there's a canal and you're going to be building in that canal. Gives you bonuses. And then there is a rain phase 3 times during the game. And during that rain phase, rain can flow down through your canals and you can get bonuses for when that happens.
Does that sound familiar at all, Tyler? Rain falling down, water flowing down pathways all the way to the bottom. It's like barrage. It's a mini barrage. It's in there.
A mini barrage. Yes, that is correct. And then the last thing you can do is trading. So trading is the pick up and deliver part of the game. And usually when I hear pick up and deliver, I kind of shudder a little bit.
Yeah, you do.
It's not my favorite mechanic, right?
Yeah.
So, Dead Reckoning, or we played Deep Shelf, and there's pick up and deliver there. I'm not a huge fan of either of those games, but I think this one does it really well. It's not a pick up and deliver where you're setting it up for like 5 rounds, right? It's pretty seamless. It's not that difficult to do.
Yeah, well, and in a lot of pickup delivers, I'm not a huge fan of it either, but like a lot of pickup deliver games, I've felt like you're fulfilling a contract, right? You're grabbing something and you're trying to fulfill a contract for somebody else. And if that contract gets taken, it's gone. And now what do I do with all the resources or whatever I have left over? I feel like in Resafa, there is still that element of timing. You want to complete a contract before somebody else. However, just because somebody fills that contract doesn't mean you can't. It just means it's less a reward because it has a card flip mechanic. And I think you're probably about to explain that, but I thought that was fascinating.
I love that because you can either buy or sell whatever good is on that tile in that area, right? So when you take the trade action, you have to move, and there's a cost associated with moving. So you have to pay, money in order to get to where you need to go. But once you get there, you can either buy the good, or if you have the good on your camel, which is another cool part of the game because there's slots in the camel, they actually carry the goods that you're going to sell, which is cool.
It's like it's a less cool version of Anachrony Exosuit.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same type of thing. So you're slotting the goods in there, right?
But it's still really cool. Yeah, but
I know.
It puts them all in there.
It's like a touch in the production, I think, that's really well done, right? Like, I appreciated that. Nice. So you get to the city, and there is one side of the tile where you can sell for more than you can buy. The other side of the tile is the opposite of that. You can buy for more than you can sell or whatever, right? So once you do that trade action, you flip over that tile in that city. So there's a timing element, like you mentioned, Tyson, where you want to time it where you get to where you want to go, and you can maximize that trade, which is really cool. And you're looking around the board to see where everybody else is going, what goods they have, what they're going to load up onto their camel. Are they going to get there first? You want to maximize that if you can, which I thought was fun.
There's not a ton of player interaction in this game in a lot of ways, but that portion of it, there is player interaction. And I feel like the more you play this game, the more you'll see I need to pay attention to when somebody is collecting certain things so that I can ensure that I maximize that, and I may want to trigger that sooner than I had anticipated. And that player interaction can be critical, especially if people are trying to go that specific route for victory points, because there's a lot of different ways to get victory points.
There is. It's a point salad-y type of game for sure.
So I was thinking about that, right? It is kind of a point salad game in that there's a million of different ways to get points, but that doesn't mean that like on everything you do generates points, right? Mm-hmm. You can focus on the wrong things and not get points every turn,
right?
And that's okay. Like, you could be building up a strategy, but like when I hear point salad, I usually think every single action I take is going to generate me
get
points,
you something,
right?
Yeah.
This is point salad in some degree because everything can get you points.
But you got to do it well.
Not. Yeah,
exactly. You got to do it well in order to get those points. Yeah. So one cool thing about trade, this was a turn that like, this game is cool because you feel powerful, you feel smart when you're able to pull off cool turns, right?
It has combos.
And it has combos, exactly. So when I was doing a trade action, and I was thinking about it for a few turns, okay, I'm going to do this. The tile was on the wrong side, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to maximize this trade action. But I saw a bonus card, and the bonus card allowed me to flip that tile, any tile, over before I did the trade action. So I got the bonus card. Then I increased my camel size to be able, because your caravan size is how many goods that you can actually carry in your caravan. I increased that. I got like 4 or 5 different goods. I ended up doing the trade action, went over to where I wanted, used my bonus card to flip over the tile, traded, got a ton of points. And I'm like, yes, that was awesome. And it's those types of turns that you can pull off that I think make this game really fun. Right?
And there's a lot of different ways to do that. I think that what's really cool about the game is that with the cards that you're playing as action cards, you're choosing an action on it, like you already explained.
Yep.
Either the top action or the bottom action.
Yep.
And there's a different color on the top or bottom, like you explained. But you're trying to determine which one to do. The color is so interesting to me because you just talked about grabbing the bonus card. So sometimes if you're looking and you see what bonus cards are available, it can completely change your strategy, how you're doing stuff, because you're like, oh, if I do that, I can now get the extra card that now triggers and gets me this thing, which now allows me to flip that tile or get some specific resource, which then can do several different things. It's a combo kind of chain reaction style game that I love those styles of games, and this was doing that perfectly.
Well, and what's cool about the bonus cards is they clear out after every round. So if you want it, you've got to get it now.
Use it now.
You got to get it now, right? Which is a cool decision that you have to make. All right. So you have 18 turns that you play. So this is similar to Praga, I think, right? So you got 18 turns with the option of having additional actions based on the cards that you get in play.
Just like Praga.
You get to the end. There's end game scoring, right? There's scarabs that you can put out. There's bonuses you can get for your workshops, your gardens. There's one other thing I can't remember. Oh, the canal. And then you're trying to build on these tracks to get bonuses. You have victory points on your special cards. There's these pink cards it's a track on the bottom that's only end game scoring, which is pretty cool. So whoever has the most points after all of this ends up winning. So this game's fantastic. I mean, some games you play, the first time you play, it's a little bit of a slog. It's a learning game. It may not be as fun. I had a blast the whole time playing this game.
I agree.
Right?
I totally agree with that. Now, I will say that we've talked about this before. Every Vladimir Suchy game we've played, right, has some sort of portion of it is a standout portion, and we're like, he did something very innovative with this mechanism.
Right.
At the start of this game, we had this conversation, Kevin, where we were sitting there playing it, and we were looking, and we're like, this is all pretty standard.
Yeah, there's nothing here that blows me away.
No, it not to say that's not fun, because like you said, every turn I was having fun. It wasn't until partway through that game, maybe a third of the way through that game, that I started to realize that those card building that you're getting and the comboing of those cards, building up your cards, was an innovative way to kind of upgrade your own action cards and to get additional cards to be able to power things up. And the fact that you can only have 5 cards in your hand at any given time, right? But the interesting thing is that a round is split up between like 2 phases of the round. And the first phase of the round, you have, 5 cards or 6 cards?
So you start off with 6, you play 3. And then the second round, you turn the cards over, and then you play the next 3 cards. So each action you can take twice. So that's another thing, is like you have to make sure you don't hose yourself, right?
But that was so interesting to me, because the 3 cards that you start with in your hand, right, that you draw from, and then you set aside the other 3, means that any cards that you're acquiring, you can build up and hold on to cards, which I thought was excellent, because you can save up cards, but if you're saving up too many, you can't have more than 5 in your hand at a time to include your 3 action cards, right? So as the round progresses, I think it's so fascinating to be like, okay, well, I can start towards the end of the round, start saving up cards, because by the time I'm starting to use all of my action cards, the last turn of my round, I have no more action cards, so I have 3 empty space of cards in my hand, so I could have built up and done like a super powerful turn at the end of a round, which feels really rewarding. I like that.
That's awesome. So really, the mind-blowing mechanic for me was the hand management and the action cards. And as you play the game more, I'm like, okay, mind blown. This is amazing. Vladimir Suchy is a genius. He's done it again,
I know. I just sat there and I was like, I didn't think this one was going to have something that was going to blow my mind and make me feel like pulled into it. And yet he somehow sneaks it in there midway through the game. And I'm like, oh, wow, you still did it. That's great. I think, again, he is a phenomenal designer that's always creating interesting experiences that I find to be really rewarding and enjoyable. Even if they're not there are some of his games that may not be, I think, as great to me as others, but every single one, there is something that stands out to me as like, that's really interesting that he did it this way. And I love to see the progression and the growth upon all his previous designs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And like we said to start, the theme didn't grab me. The box art didn't pull me in. But as soon as I started playing the game, it sucked me in. And I've thought about it so many times since we played. And I'm like, we've got to get that to the table again.
Yeah.
And talking about it now, I want to stop recording and just play this
game.
I know. It's a great design, and he's done it again. I can't wait to see what his next one is.
Love it.
Yep. So that is Resafa or Resafa from Vladimir Suchy and published by Rio Grande Games in the U.S., the delicious games.
Century Spice Road.
Century Spice Road
Part 2.
on steroids.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to talk really briefly about a game that is related to a game that we've talked about a ton on this podcast. This is Res Arcana Duo.
Another stellar designer.
Yes, Tom Lehman.
Yes.
I think this is still my favorite game of his. The basic concept is you have 8 cards in your deck. You draw a few of them. Those are the 8 cards that you have. Those are the 8 artifact cards that you have for the rest of the game. You can buy places of power. You have a mage that lets in, along with all of the artifacts, they all have abilities and different things that you can do. It's resource management, but you're trying to get these artifacts out in front of you so that you can use their abilities and so you can get to 10 points to win, right?
Yep.
And in as few rounds as possible. Well, Res Arcana Duo came out, and I got to play with this with Logan, and it's basically got 16 artifact cards, so you're splitting up 8 cards to each player. There are 4 mage cards to choose from that are unique. There's 7 new monument cards, which are cards that you can buy with gold that also let you do some type of ability. Maybe one time when you buy the card or each turn or each round, right? Then there's 2 new place of power cards that are double-sided, so 4 new places of power. Basically plays the same as Res Arcana. Okay. And so we played this. There's a bunch of new essence tokens. The colors don't quite line up when you mix it in with the base game.
Well, that's a little bit annoying.
Which is interesting because you can play this as a standalone duo game or a 2-player game, or you can mix this in as an expansion with your base Res Arcana. And so there's only 5 magic items in this one. Those are each round. Each player picks a magic item to have for that round. They're the same.
Are they all the same as the base game? Are there any new magic items?
No. So there's 5 of them, and they're all ones that exist in the base game.
Oh, that seems like a missed opportunity.
Yeah. So there's a couple of new icons and new things. Like you can, with some cards, you can exhaust your mage to do something, or refresh your mage with an artifact's ability. So there's some new symbols. A couple, not a ton. There's one that lets you. I think it's the Solomon's Key. It lets you use someone's center place of power. I don't know. Really, Logan and I played this once, and I immediately blended it with the base game. And I don't intend to ever play this as a 2-player game, right?
Because you can just play Res Arcana 2-player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about this, and I was like, well, this just feels like a trendy, let's put
everybody's doing a
duo player.
Yeah.
And so I was actually looking at it, and interesting enough, there must have been comments to that effect or similar things being said on BGG, because Tom Lehman wrote a post about why does Res Arcana Duo exist and not just another expansion.
Okay.
And one of the main points he is making is that they're trying to expand Sandcastle Games and Tom Lehman are trying to expand the Res Arcana base by introducing new players with Duo so that they can justify putting out more expansion content for Res Arcana, because the customer base has been dwindling a little. Some of the partners of other languages has gone down. So they're trying to reinvigorate some new players into Res Arcana through the Duo game, right? A much cheaper price point.
So that's my question is it a lot cheaper?
It is.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I don't think I spent more than around $20 on this, maybe 18, 20.
I can completely support that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Because if it brings more people into the game and it makes it more popular, then more expansions are going to come, right?
Yes.
Which I'm all for. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And so I don't have disdain for it because I have fun with the new content. I immediately added it to the base game. I've played a 4-player game with just that new expansion, and I like the cards. There's no loss of life, right? Like there's no attacky things. There is one card that lets you get a number of resources based on how many artifacts someone else has out. I think that's the silver key card. So there's some interesting things going on, but really it's in my base game now, and I've started playing it that way, and that's how I'm going to always play it going forward. So hopefully it does well, that it can expand that user base, and we can get some more Res Arcana content.
Nice.
Sounds great.
Is the card quality exactly the same?
I sleeved my cards right away, so...
Because Dominion did that. They changed, and the first expansion after they changed, the cards were a lot thinner.
Oh,
and
no.
you're like... Whoa. Like, no, you put out 10 expansions, or I don't remember how many expansions, like 7 or 8 expansions, and now you come out with one that the cards are different. It's like, whoa.
Oh, that's an expansion card.
Yeah, exactly. And you could kind of tell. And then with the deck builder, that's super important, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I immediately sleeved it. I mean, I've been looking forward to a Res Arcana expansion forever. Tom Lehman mentioned it a couple of years ago that there was one that was coming out, and then this got announced, and I was like, is this what was supposed to come out? So I don't know. At first I was like, oh, this is kind of lame as a duo game, but I get the reasoning. It's an experiment to see if they can build a little bit bigger fan base for it, and that will help fund future expansions.
I kind of like the idea, though, that it didn't take away from Res Arcana as like the base game either, right? Like it's still completely an expansion if you want it to be.
Yeah, it's
a duo game that's standalone if you want that too, which is interesting because there's not a lot of games that do it in that way. I'm thinking of Seven Wonders Architects or Seven Wonders Duel.
I mean, I gotta admit, I was super annoyed when they announced the Dune Imperium second game. Even though I love it, like the fact that we weren't just getting more expansion,
it makes something obsolete.
Kind of annoyed me.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah,
and I love that game, and I love both of them, but it still kind of annoyed me at first. Like, why are we getting another base game of this? So yeah, I love that it's a 2-player game that I can immediately mix in with my Res Arcana other expansion. That is Res Arcana Duo.
Well, that's great. I have a transition here.
Great, Tyler. That's great. That's great.
My transition is I'm saying it's great because I legitimately think it's great. And you're gonna see what the transition from Vladimir Suhi, fantastic, great designer, Tom Lehman, fantastic, great designer, to the game I'm talking about now is a game that is uncredited of designer. There is no designer credited on this game.
That's unfortunate.
So I don't know if that gives you any indication of what kind of game we're talking about here.
It feels like something that was 70% off at Kohl's.
But it was something that was, what happened
Does Kohl's sell games?
My wife...
Yeah, they have a game rack.
Yeah.
It's always heavily discounted.
This was
garbage.
not Kohl's. This was Walmart.
Oh, okay.
So my wife went with my kids right before, like, the week of Christmas, right, to pick out a stocking stuffer for me that my kids were in charge of. And my kids know I like games. And my wife and I both love the Netflix TV show Wednesday.
It's great.
Yep.
My kids realize that. We have a Wednesday poster in my basement. And so my kids know that it's Wednesday. And so they see Wednesday and the card game sitting there at Walmart and think, Dad's going to love this game. I love the thought process that went into this gift.
I mean, that's super nice of them.
It was great. Like they were very thoughtful. Dad likes board games. Dad likes that TV show. Let's get him something.
This is a no-brainer.
Right? It makes perfect sense. And you know what? We talked about right before we started recording that, like, about 10 years ago, IP games were, you showed me an IP game and I was like, nah, I'm not going to touch that with a 49-foot pole, right? I'm going to avoid that game.
It's a cash grab. That's all it is.
Exactly. But now IP games have grown into something where some of the best games I think I've played in recent years have sometimes been IP games, right? Yeah. I don't know that this one is falling closer to the 10-year mark behind and less so at this one. But let me explain what this game is. This is Wednesday the card game. Essentially what it is it can play 3 to 6 players. It's a deck of cards, 70 cards. And of these cards, there are 39 deliciously dark cards where the art on this card is black and white. And the artwork, actually, I really think the artwork in this game is nice and it's fun.
It's
and then
thematic.
It is thematic. Okay, yeah, cool. It's straight from the show, and it's really good. If you've watched the show, you know that Wednesday is like morbid, and her roommate Enid is very colorful and like emphatic, emotional, etc. So there are 24 putrid color cards in the deck as well, and they all kind of follow the same color schema as Enid's side of the room in the show. There are also 6 vengeful round cards, and you're only going to play 4 rounds in this game, so you're going to shuffle in 4 random round cards. So, and then there is 1 woeful Wednesday card, which is just your first player marker. So in this game, what you're doing is essentially everybody is dealt a number of cards, and then there is a draw pile in the center of the card and the round card. The round card just essentially tells you that in this round, you're going to do something. So for the first round, for example, it always has you choose a card for yourself. So the game is about putting cards in the center and then seeing what is available and trying to gather cards. You want to, because you're playing at the role of being Wednesday, you don't want any colorful cards. Every color card has a number on it, and the number value is a negative value point. So 1, 2, or 3 negative points. But every black and white card has also similar number value, 1, 2, or 3, and those are going to be positive points. So you're trying to pick a positive value card that is black and white for yourself when it is a round that you're picking for yourself. But there are round cards that can change things up so that you may be picking for the neighbor on your left or picking for another player of your choice, etc. So you're going and picking cards. You're trying to pick interestingly so that you can nerf other people's score potentially or pick cards that are going to be great for you or etc. So there's some interesting strategy going on here, but all you're doing in the game really is every round everybody is going to, let me backtrack just a little. One player plays as Wednesday, the dealer, draws a card on the top of the card. You see what it is, and it's placed next to the card, the round card. And then everybody else also puts a card in the deck, except for the player who plays as Wednesday. The player who plays as Wednesday, once everybody has placed a card on the table, collects all the cards and orders them in numerical order, regardless of what color or not color they are. They get to put them in whatever order they want, as long as 1s are on the left and 3s are on the right. They also then add 1 card from their hand to it. They can put whatever card they want. So now it becomes a memory game, but they've been ordered so that you know that cards on the left are all going to be the lowest value and cards on the right are the highest value. They've put them all face down in front of the table, and then you go around the table and everybody picks a card. And if it's the first round, you're picking a card for yourself. So you're trying to pick the black and white cards, and you know what has and hasn't been picked, because if you saw what was available at the start, you can do that. It's interesting. Everybody goes around. The player at the end of the game who has the highest score wins, and you're just trying to not take terrible low cards. That's the extent of this game. There's some interesting choices being made here, but it's not all that complex. I played it with my family. We liked it. It was fine. I think the art is really nice on these cards.
I was going to say the thing that stood out to me is the art. It looks really cool. Yeah. The box component, how you pull it out and then you open up the window and that's the contents of the box. Like, those are the two best things about the game, just looking at it.
I would agree. It's not a bad game. You can tell that whoever designed it, uncredited, I don't know who it is, was trying to design a game that like would appeal to people and had some strategy. Because there is strategy in here and there's some interesting thing. But ultimately, it does feel like kind of what Kevin alluded to earlier, that we got the IP rights. Let's create a game and have some sort of thematic tie-in here, color cards versus dark cards, and it's fine.
Are you going to go back to it? You said your family was kind of lukewarm on it. Is that something you'll play again, or?
I'd be curious to play it with a group of gamers to see if
it's missing something.
If I'm missing something, right?
Yeah.
But I played it, like, my 3-year-old played this game. It wasn't all that complicated. They picked a card and put them in the center of the table, and that's about it. So, like, it wasn't that bad. The hardest part was making sure that you're organizing the cards in numerical order. So he couldn't really do that as well, so we had to help him to some extent there. But
it's no flip 7 for him.
It's no flip 7. It's
which
no.
We've been playing that like crazy as a family a lot of times right before our little guy goes to bed, and it's a blast. I love that. Sorry, not to hijack Wednesday, but flip 7, fantastic.
No, totally agree.
Oh, we played it at a game night at my house
with a bunch of non-gamers essentially.
There was 8 of us, and I was talking to my wife, Alicia, afterwards. And she's like, you guys were having a good time.
Loud.
we were so loud, and everybody was having, and it came down to the end, and it was exciting. And that game, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Wednesday, not quite there.
But no. But I again, to answer your question, Kevin, I think that would I play this game again? Yeah, I would. But I would like to play it with a different group of people to see if, like, am I missing something here? It's not a bad game, but it's not. Getting it off of a bargain shelf at Walmart is. I got what I paid for, essentially. So, yeah, that's Wednesday, the card game, published by Spin Master Games.
All right, so this game I'm going to talk about, it does not have a morbid theme at all. It is a kid's game about this cute dragon that is sleeping. It's called Escape the Dragon. It's a cooperative adventure board game. All right, we got this sent to us from Hobby World. It is designed by Galina Petrova. And like I said, it's a kid's game. So I played this with my 7-year-old, and I'm just going to say this game is a lot more fun than it should be. So the way it works is you have a board in front of you, and there's 2 sides to the board. You just pick one of the sides, and then on the top there's a sleeping dragon, and then you have these standees of all these kids that are up by the dragon. They're trying to escape the dragon and get all the way down to the bottom of the board and get to the city, right? And then they're safe. Okay. So the way the game works is you have 3 dice, and you're going to roll all 3 of those dice on your turn. Now, the board is just a bunch of islands, and in between those islands, there's maybe a tree that will connect to another island, or there's rocks, or there's branches, there's planks, there's a ladder, or there's a spider web. And the dice, 2 of the dice, have one of those symbols on the die. If you roll it, you can take one of the kids and move it along that symbol. If it's a tree, you move it along a tree to the other island spot. Okay, so we have 2 of those dice. The other die is a spell die, and the spell die will let you do cool things like re-roll dice or choose the side of one of the dice. You can move 2 spots for 1 die with one of them. Invisibility lets you move. If you're next to the dragon, it lets you move away from the dragon anywhere you want. If you're next to the village, you can move anywhere you want next to the village into the village. And then sound asleep. The dragon stays asleep. So the trick of the game is if you don't make it to the village with one of your kids, then there are sleeping tokens. There's 8 of them. You have to take one of those away. And as soon as all 8 sleeping tokens are taken away, the dragon wakes up and you lose the game.
And eats the kids.
Wait,
And
you said this wasn't a morbid game. What happens to the children that don't escape
this is
the
Tyler
dragon?
making it morbid, just like that penguin game where he said, what was that? Deep or what was the
Deep dive.
Deep
deep dive
yeah,
where
yeah.
he said like sharks were murdering
I mean,
seals.
they were.
Were they really?
eating them? Yeah.
The dragon wakes up, the kids just get scared and they run away. That's all that
That's
happens.
very.
I don't believe you.
Are there bouncy clouds too?
Yeah, there might be. I don't know. Yeah, there's no blood in this game. All right.
Yeah,
Nobody-
because you're dead to not realize it. You die so subtly you didn't even realize
look
it.
at this dragon. Okay, look at that on the cover.
Yeah,
Does
do you
that look
see
like a
that
mean dragon?
underbite? It's gonna
Yeah.
gobble you up.
Okay, so
That reminds me of like a Pete's Dragon from our childhoods.
Right.
Remember Pete's Dragon?
yeah.
Don't act like I haven't seen Pete's Dragon.
I said our.
No, you pointed at Kevin and said our.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
You
it's
know.
red instead of green, but
right.
But if you're
Pete's-
colorblind, it's not. It's the same thing.
Okay, so we're going to say this dragon eats the kids. All right.
Yeah.
He wakes up and he eats all the children.
yeah, well, of course he does, because that's how the real world works.
Okay. You're
this
teaching.
is-
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
This is as morbid as Wednesday. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I was completely wrong. So okay, the goal is that don't wake up the dragon. Get all the kids to the town. All the kids are safe. They don't get eaten. What's cool about this game is that spell die and how you can use that spell die to figure out how to get all the kids where they need to go. Because this game it has a feeling of being like, there's no way I can get this done, which is the sign of a pretty good cooperative game, right? And what was even cooler for me is it's not a complicated game, but as my 7-year-old's playing it, and as we're rolling the dice, she's making connections in her head of, oh, wait a minute, we can change this die to a tree and get this over here. And then we're set up for this one to do this and then this to do this. And it was just a really cool, neat experience. It's a simple cooperative game, but it's a perfect weight for my 7-year-old to kind of make those connections and be introduced to cooperative games. So I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked it.
Nice.
It sounds like a better version of Don't Wake Daddy, which is a game that I have very standard Candyland shoots and ladder style of game.
1992.
Yeah, and it's got the appeal of the mechanism in there that actually has Daddy shoot up in bed, and so there's some of that. But this sounds like somebody took Don't Wake Daddy, decided, you know what, let's make an actual game out of it
About dragons that eat children. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's Escape the Dragon. Are you done talking about it?
What a transition!
Right. No, I thought you were going to say something about this game.
No, I want to transition off of that game.
I am done.
I'm calling an audible on a game I'm going to talk about.
I'm done
because of this game.
I'm done because there is not much more to say about it because it's very simple, but good game. If you can find it, I think it's probably worth checking out.
Did your children in the game survive the dragon?
They did and they didn't. We played. I think we played.
How did you choose which one to sacrifice?
3 or 4 times. I mean, there are choices that have to be made. Whoever's furthest behind. Okay.
Who do you love the most?
How did this game? This is a cute kids game. How did it turn into this? I don't know.
All right.
Okay. Go. I am
Escape
done.
the Dragon.
Transition.
Okay,
now.
so this is a little bit lighter game that I've been playing with my 4-year-old. It's called Ice Hoppers. It made me want to talk about it when you brought up the penguins and deep dive. Also, this is a game where you start out, and if you go looking for this on BGG, it's called Pango Jump. It came out in 2022. It's from Blue Orange Games. But Ice Hoppers, I bought this on discount at Miniature Market because I was looking for some games for my little guy for Christmas. So it's a board where you got 4 penguins on the edge, and they're trying to get back to safety before all the ice pieces drift away, right? So
Before they die?
yes, absolutely.
Penguins can swim.
100%.
Children cannot escape dragons.
Caden, if we fail, these penguins die. Yes. Okay. So how it plays, and it's really neat. The box is part of the game. So you pull out the board, put it on top of the box, and you have this bag of ice pieces and snow pieces. And on your turn, you draw a piece, you slide it in to the edge of the slot, and They eventually start building up to where they're connected to the penguins, or the ice pieces that the penguins are on. Once the penguin's piece that it's on is touching another piece, it can move forward one space. So you place a piece, you can move a penguin. You place a piece, move a penguin. That's your turn, right? Just do it once. And you're trying to get all 4 penguins back to safety. You can slide on the ice pieces. However, there are sea lion tiles, and they block the path of the penguin. So I've been playing this with my 4-year-old that says ages 6+. Yeah, that's garbage. It takes 10 minutes to play. This game is really fun. I didn't want to spend too much time on it. Ice hoppers. If you have a little guy, and if this is still on sale or discount at Miniature Market, go check it out, because it teaches, there's some dexterity that he's trying to slide pieces in certain ways that your penguins now have access back to safety, right? You're talking about Escape the Dragon. You start out on the board and you're trying to get to the other side of the board.
Right.
Like, I immediately thought of Ice Hopper. So
awesome.
Check it out. It's a little bit lighter. There's not as many decisions. You're not rolling dice and then trying to decide how to, use those to your advantage, right?
Not as many existential decisions.
But life and death is still on the line. Okay. All right. The next game I really wanted to talk about.
Yeah, but one second.
Okay.
So I pulled the rules out for Escape the Dragon just to see if it has an explanation as to what happens to the kids. Yeah. There is no explanation. This makes me think like
they die.
Because I thought I remembered where they just got scared and went back home, but no, it says now they have to return home before the dragon wakes up, help them overcome all obstacles and get back home. That's it. That's the end of it.
Or else.
No, they are dead. Oh no. Okay, sorry. Go.
They were obliterated.
Yep. Go ahead.
Cooked and then eaten.
I don't even think well, dragons like to. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So. This is a review copy that we got from Thunderworks Games. This is a Kickstarter game. It was kickstarted last year. It hasn't fulfilled yet, I don't think, but it's available pre-order. It's called Emerald Skulls, and this takes place in the Ulos world, like so many of the Thunderworks games do. Role player, Dawn of Ulos, role player adventures, Goblin Vaults, Cartographers, right? All these great games, okay? Emerald Skulls is a 1 to 6 player game where you have this skull board, and it takes place in a dungeon, and you're playing as gambling goblins, basically. You're gambling for gears. Whoever ends up with the most gears wins. So there's this skull, and on your turn, you are called the Tumbler. You're going to roll at minimum 3 dice. You can buy more dice with some of your gears, up to 7 dice. And then you're going to roll and keep rolling until you either basically farkle or decide to stop. Okay? And while you're rolling, and what makes this an interesting and exciting game is everybody else at the table is placing bets on the outcome of what's going to happen with your rolls. Okay?
In real time.
In real time. And Logan played this with his friends. He said that nobody really bet during the whole first roll.
They bid their time.
They waited. Mm-hmm. When we played it with the expansion. We had 8 players, I think, around the table. And we had people making bets before the first roll. Immediately after the first roll. So you can only place bets when the tumbler has the dice in their hands, I believe. Once they pick up the dice, okay? Once they roll, you can't bet, and you can't bet until they pick up the dice at the start of the round. So there are all kinds of, there's standard betting cards, there's jackpot bet cards, there's cards that you can place bets on around the player board. There's some funny tongue-in-cheek things about this game that I thought were really creative, but basically it's a skull that you place the dice on, and you can put 1s and 2s are teeth. You can put as many teeth out as you want. A 3 is a nose. There's only 1 spot for a nose. And then there's 2 eyes, and then like a forehead diamond gem thing. You can only play one of those. And when you place dice as the tumbler, you start from the bottom, and once you place like a 3 for the nose, you can't place
anything lower.
And so all these betting cards that are surrounding the board are kind of the outcomes of like whether you'll bust or you'll, get tons of teeth.
Chicken out.
Or if you'll chicken out and pass on your turn and while you still had more dice to play. And so there's all these different kind of outcomes. And based on the end result of what you do, whether you get what you were going for, you're going to score gears, potentially. You might just flat out lose some. And everybody who's betting, a couple bets might win gears based on your outcome. So I think it's a really fun game. I've only played it with 8 players. That was a bit much for our first play, but we were provided the expansion for the extra players. So we tried playing our first time. Logan taught us the game, his friends. They loved it. He loved, being able that you're invested in everybody's turn, so to speak, and that there's lots of table talk going on, and you're trying to convince someone to keep rolling or not keep rolling or to go for this or go for that. And so that's what he liked about it. And I agree with him. 8 players, it was a little much for our first play, I would say.
I think there's probably an optimal player count for this. I don't know that for sure. We've only played it one time.
Yeah.
It was a little problematic on the betting with 8 players. Just like logistically trying to get to where you needed to be in order to bet. So like
Tyson and I were at a disadvantage.
Yeah, we were at the opposite corners of like where we wanted to be.
So maybe that was an issue of the table we were playing.
Right.
Right.
If we were playing around this square table, I don't think it would be a problem. But the rectangle table, the big one over there,
So maybe at higher player counts, that's something to be aware of. And it felt like that stack of gears was just never going to go away, right? It almost overstated its welcome a little bit.
I will say a couple things there. I think one, as our first play, we obviously weren't playing optimally, so we were slow to collect gears at the start.
Yep.
And as you can afford buying more dice as the tumbler, each player as the tumbler, more rewarding things start to happen, I think, over the course of the game. So it ramps up a little bit. But I would agree that maybe the number of points that are included in the game is scalable based on the number of players. Right. And you play until they're all gone. Yep. And I would say that maybe at 8 players, I wouldn't play with the amount that they suggested. I would reduce it a little bit, and I think that would help curb the game from staying too long.
That was one thing I thought, because as soon as I sat down, and mind you, I came in at the end of the teach and didn't know how to play the game.
Yeah, and we're like, we'll just teach you.
Yeah, you just figure it out as it goes.
That always works out.
Wait, didn't you end up winning?
I ended up winning.
Oh yeah, it did work out. That's right.
I seriously had to pick it up as I go, which I think is a mark in its favor in that it's not overly complex of a game, and you watch a couple of plays and you start to pick up on the what's going on. But I do think when I sat down at the table and you added the extra gears to the pile, I was like, that is a lot of gears in that table. And I watched a few turns go by and nobody was really getting any gears at first, and I was like, this is interesting. I will also note that I really liked about the 8-player count the frenetic energy that was occurring, right? Like it was because you have to, the places where you put your bets are finite amounts, right? There's only 2 to 3 people can go to any of the slots, right?
Yeah.
And so there are arguably slots that are better than others because of the total point value you could get if you got it. But they're also higher risk, higher reward kind of situations and things like that. But it was interesting to see that people who were faster would get to spots and be like, I got that. And at one point, there was one instance that I thought was perfect, and I can't remember who it was. I feel like it was Tyler and Kevin.
I was involved.
And at one point, somebody threw their tile down.
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody so confident that they had got it, but he slid it just perfectly, and Tyler put his tile right on top.
That was me. I slid it right under Tyler's. Yeah,
that's what I thought. And you put it. Yeah,
I mean, there's some taco chat taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza element to this game when you've got that many people.
Broken fingers. And
And I didn't say this. Each player who's not the tumbler can make up to 2 bets over the course of the tumbler's turn.
Yeah.
So,
but it's only at the point at which they've picked up the dice.
Yeah.
Right. So there was some fun little things that people would do, like fake outs, where they would try and go and pick up the dice, and everybody would start scrambling, but hadn't done it yet. And so I thought that was a fun little party element to it that was enjoyable.
Definitely party. Yeah, that's a good point. This is definitely a party game.
Yeah.
Right. It's definitely a game that you're not going to take too seriously.
Yeah. I wanted people to get the teeth one so many times. It paid out really well, and it wasn't hard to get. And nobody would go for it until the end of the game, and then people started going for it and getting big payouts.
You were campaigning for that one pretty
I
hard.
I found a perfect bet combo that
you did
scored me like 15 points each time if I got it, because if I'm the first one on one bet spot and the first one on another one, together I was able to, if somebody fails the roll, you get X amount of points, and I was able to maximize that a couple times.
There's one where if they use a re-roll and then fail, you get, and I think that was part of that combo too. Yep. And that is interesting. There are different bet cards, so there's more variability than what we were exposed to. So I'm still excited to go back to this game. Like I said, if we played at an 8-player count, I would reduce the number of gears
and change the table you play at,
and play at a square table instead of the big rectangle long table that I've got down here. So yeah, I mean, I had fun with it. It did overstay its welcome. I think, like I said, it was most of our first play, and I don't think we were playing optimally to start it out for sure. So
if there was 8, then I may go play Moon Colony Bloodbath or something.
Yeah.
But
solo.
Yeah. No. Somehow, but yeah.
But, Thunderworks Games sent us a review copy of this. I'm glad we've got it, and I definitely want to get it back out and get some more plays of this. So that is Emerald Skulls. I think that wraps up the games that we've been playing lately that we're going to talk about. Let's get into our Shelf of Shame.
Let's do it.
Shelves of Shame?
Shelves of Shame.
Shelves of Shame.
Should we recap last year's and see how we did?
I was thinking that we did cover what the Shelf of Shame is to some extent at the start of the episode, but just to be clear,
if you're listening to a board game podcast, you
most likely,
but
I'll be fair. Maybe
some people
doesn't
call
know.
it a shelf
maybe
of opportunity.
They're new to the
Maybe that's something you would recognize, some terminology. But
the Shelf of Shame for us is the shelf of games that we have that on our shelf, purchased, owned, whatever, but have not played.
The physical
copy of the game.
Are we going BGA here? Because that's been a topic.
My Feast for Odin plays from 2 years ago absolutely counted. From BGA.
I do remember this conversation, and you cheated. Clearly.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, this doesn't come into play for me this year.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but no, essentially it's the games that we have on our shelves that haven't been played. And typically, and you guys may be different than me, but typically these have been on our shelves for a period of time more than hey, I got this game last week.
Well, it depends on the year.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I still have a plethora of games on my Shelf of Shame.
I don't have a ton.
The same collection every year that I'm I still have this, really?
Yeah.
I haven't played this yet, so.
Yeah. I came up with new ones, but I still have some old ones as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's recap what we did last year and see how well we did. Tyson, do you want to go over yours first? Should we just go by person?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
So we had my number 5 from last year, Arkham Horror: The Path to Carcosa.
We didn't get to this one.
Poor Arkham Horror.
Right?
This is the game I was convinced of all the games on my Shelf of Shame. This was the one that we were going to play because we had just got back from Cabin Con.
Dunwich Legacy.
We started out the year within the Arkham Horror
playing
world.
multiple different campaigns of this, and we have not played a single time Arkham Horror, the card game.
That's such a shame.
It's so depressing.
It is.
Because the game's awesome.
Yeah. 2023 Cabin Con was the last time we played it.
Oh my gosh. What are we doing?
That's
what
I'm saying.
are we doing?
Because I still really, really want to play
the
this.
The stories that come out of this game are incredible. I love it.
So 0 for 1 so far.
So 0 for 1. but that's where it ends there because I'm a winner.
On your
Number 4.
well, okay, keep going. Yep.
Number 4 was Battlecrest Fellwoods.
You've talked about this on the
I've
podcast.
talked about this a couple of times on the podcast. I played it with Glenn at Cabin Con. I've played it with my son at home a couple of times. We've played this a number of times. And I'm glad that I finally got this one played. I actually bought this one because it's a button shy game, and I bought it on a whim. I didn't think I was going to get this played as easily, but I've found that this was a really fun little skirmish game that I really enjoy. So glad that I got this one off my shelf of shame. Happy to play this one anytime with anybody. I think that you guys would enjoy this one, and it's a fun, quick game. My number 3 was Tikal.
Yeah, you got that played.
I did. I got this one played on the table with Tyler.
Yeah, I was a part of that.
And we played this one and had a real fun time to the point that we ended up it came on BGA a number of times, and we've played it a lot of times on BGA now. So
it's a good game.
I've played this one a lot too. So I feel like even though I didn't get any Arkham Horror played, these last two I've played a fair amount of time. So I didn't pull a Tyler and only played these in the last week of the year.
I'm proud of that.
It was a success.
No shame.
Yeah. Better late than never.
These
I've been a
games have been good.
procrastinator my whole life. Whatever, Tyson.
My number 2 is a game called Lunar Rush.
Played that one with you?
I played this. Kevin ended up playing this one with me. I've played this one both solo and multiplayer at this point in time, and I still really like this game. I play tested this one when it was in development, but a really good game about a new age gold rush occurring on the moon. There's a lot of interesting things happening, kind of a worker placement, but isolated to your own board, etc. I liked this one. Glad I got this one off the shelf of shame as well. And then my number 1 game that was on my shelf of shame that I wanted to get played, Septima.
Oh, yeah.
You ended up
I got it off my shelf
this.
of shame.
Yeah.
It's not on there.
Sold it.
I got rid of it. I gave it away.
Yeah, you gave it away.
So I have still not played Septima, but it's off my shelf of shame. So I count that as 4 out of 5 off the shelf of shame.
On a technicality. Okay. Well,
It's not on my shelf.
it is our podcast.
Okay.
We can do whatever the crap we want. So,
All right.
okay. So,
Nice. Well done.
my number 5, Aeon's End Legacy. I did get this off my shelf of shame. Did not finish it, though. I was a little underwhelmed, to be honest, with the Legacy version. But
Was this the first Legacy? Because there's multiple Legacy ones.
it's the first one. And it's got some cool stuff going on, right? Because you are building up your character, which is cool. You're building up your mage, which is fun. The story didn't really grab
About
me.
how far did you get through?
I think we're on the 3rd. So maybe didn't give it enough of a chance, but
you've played it a few times.
I played
at this
it. I played
time,
it a few times and got a feel for what was going on.
Yeah.
So definitely off of my shelf of shame. Number 4 is Stranger Things Upside Down. I did not get this played, and it's not a difficult game. I don't think.
Well,
and,
I mean, it's hard to win.
And there's
played
multiple
a few
but it's not
times
hard
and-
to play.
No, I've played a few times and we've gotten destroyed as a family.
There's
3
multiple
times.
copies in this group too.
There
which
is. Well, that's an IP game, right? And we love Stranger Things, so I'm like, well, I gotta get this one. So
Yeah.
I haven't got it played. Number 3 is Zhanguo, The First Empire. Nope.
This is a heavier game.
This
though.
is a heavier
harder
game
one to pull out.
and it mocks me every time I look at it on my shelf because I want yeah, exactly, because I want to play it and it's in a nice prominent spot, so I see it all the time. I've played Zhanguo, but not this version of it. So I definitely want to get this played. Have not played it though. Number 2, Apiary.
Oh, score! You got it.
Got it
in multiple
done.
ways.
Yep, I
Amazing
played
game.
it and I sold it.
Yeah. Boo. Boo.
off my shelf of shame in multiple ways.
I loved this game.
I
really
liked
enjoyed it.
it, but it wasn't worth keeping for me.
I cried a little bit the day you got rid of this.
Hey, you could always get your own copy.
It was one of the ones that Tyler actually would have bought your copy of.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's number 2, Apiary. Number 1 is Carpe Diem. Did not get that played. I don't know why.
You did not seize the day.
I did not seize the day. This one still is super interesting for me, and I want to play it. I just don't know why I haven't played it. I think it's a quicker play with some good strategy and decision
is
making.
Stefan Feld, right?
This is. I believe
Did you
it's
get like the
I believe it's Feld.
cheap-looking $12 one, or
I got it on sale at Barnes and Noble. It's the white box.
yeah?
I
don't know. If it's
I
really
will
$12,
say,
but
I may have spent $12 and I can't remember. I did get a good deal. I think I got 50% off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, Stefan Feld, Carpe Diem, I'll take a chance on it. And I've read great things about it. I think it plays in about an hour, which is a great playtime.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that complicated, but has some fun decision making. So I will get this one played.
So it sounds like
next year.
your 2024 Shelf of Shame games, you're 2 for 5 is what I'm hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
All right.
2 for 5. Yeah. I guess I needed to sell some more games.
yeah.
I sold one. I got rid of one game. Just like you.
All right, Tyler, how did you do?
This was a failure year for me, but to be honest, it's understandable. Okay. Number 5, legendary Big Trouble in Little China. Mark gave me this years ago.
I was going to say, this is probably one of your longer ones.
Still haven't played it. I've read the rules. I've sleeved it. I have not played it. Still would love to experience this game because I'm a huge fan of the cult classic Big Trouble in Little China with Kurt Russell. Number 4, Merv, the Heart of the Silk Road. Resafa, Century Spice Road.
Yeah.
This is
artwork.
What's that?
Tool artwork.
Tool artwork. And this, I think, I don't know what the collection of games is that this is a part of, but it's a Fabio Lopiano design. And there's Merv, there's Sancore, and now IR. And the other day I almost pre-ordered IR, and then I'm like, wait a second, I haven't played Merv yet. But these are
Shelf of Shame next year.
Yeah, these are some heavier weight Fabio Lopiano games that I have just not gotten to the table. But it needs to happen. There's a theme here. All of my games were pretty hefty.
Yeah.
Number 3, so I didn't get either of those played. Number 3, ISS Vanguard.
Oh my gosh. Holy cow.
I'm going to count this as a success.
No.
I played through the tutorial mission.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm going to count that as a win, 1 for 3 so far.
How long ago did you play the tutorial?
About 6 months ago. Okay. So at this point, I told Logan, hey, I would love to play this, but you need to learn the rules.
I was going to say, this seems like one Logan would absolutely be into.
I think he totally would. It's a cooperative game. It's Awaken Realms. He would love this game. And I don't have the energy to go back and relearn the rules to go replay
because it's a big time commitment.
Beefy one. Yeah. Okay. That's number 3. Total success. I'm counting that as a win. My number 2, this is probably the lightest one because it was an expansion. Outer Rim Unfinished Business. I've played Outer Rim. I enjoy that IP Star Wars game. Never got Unfinished Business to the table. My number 1, a legacy game, Clank Legacy, the first one, Acquisitions Incorporated. Read the rules, got it out and set up, haven't played it yet. So collectively, this was a terrible year, 1 for 5, and that one.
I'm going to say half a point for
please. 0.5. I get more points for that than selling the game like Tyson did with or donating.
You can kick that out, and I still have more plays than you.
It's a failure. I get it, but it's a full freaking point. I don't care what you guys say. So that is it was a failure year. Shelf of Shame I've failed it 2 out of 3 years so far.
Okay.
I think this is
we can always do better next year.
That's right.
Right?
And
that's the mantra.
And I'm not picking 4-hour beasts for my Shelf of Shame this year.
I'm already second guessing my list, but I'm doing it.
You can do it.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into our new Shelf of Shame.
These are optimistic lists.
Right. You mentioned we don't put games on that we just got. I do. So my number 5, and it's the reason why this is why it's my number 5. It probably should be my number 1, but this is a Star Trek captain's chair.
Ooh,
I got
beefy.
Yes, right. So I got this one delivered a week or two ago. This is
a game that we got a heads up that was coming out when we interviewed David Turtsey.
Yeah. So this is a Nigel Buckle, David Turtsey game. Yeah, we interviewed David Turtsey it's coming up on a year ago. It's been probably 10 months or so that we interviewed him. Yeah. He mentioned that he had a game coming out in the Imperium series of games, and it was a Star Trek game.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? This sounds amazing. He's like, hasn't been announced yet. We couldn't talk about it yet. He's like, well, it's probably going to be in like a week that I'll announce it. It ended up being
months
until they announced it. Right.
Yeah.
I love Star Trek. I just think it's fantastic. I love games by David Turtsey. I just think he's a fantastic designer. This looks beefy, but it looks super thematic. I've watched, the Paul Grogan rules explanation.
Oh, it's a beefy game, man.
And playthrough, and it looks fantastic. So I'm pretty confident that this one's going to get off my shelf of shame.
Yeah, the Imperium system is fantastic. Longer plays, at least the one that I've played.
Yeah.
But the system is awesome. Very unique sets of decks that you have where you're
highly
playing.
Asymmetric.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's beefy, but this is exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I think it plays very well solo. It's a very good solo game
Nice.
from what I've heard. It's only a 2-player game. I would absolutely love to play 2-player, but I'm probably going to get it played at least initially solo.
Nice.
So that's my number 5. It's published by WizKids. That's Star Trek Captain's Chair.
It's one I want to play too. So when you get that one played, I'm all for that. My number 5 is a space themed game as well. It is Space Bureau. This is a game that we received from Hobby World Games, and it is one that I would never have thought of, looked at otherwise, but like essentially what this is that you are a captain of a new spaceship. Your job is to go throughout the universe by traveling through wormholes and set up different trade outposts, essentially. You're trying to establish trade throughout the universe and do different things. One of the things about this game is it's got a number of mechanisms in it that I'm a fan of. There's contract fulfillment, there's grid movement, moving on ships on a map, trying to go to different spaces, etc. There's tile placement, so there's some exploration there by placing tiles on your board. And one of the big things that stands out to me is it's got tech trees. I love tech trees in games, and this has some tech trees to it. So I'm interested in playing this one. It's cute. The artwork is really like fun and light and cute. So, but it's really well done. It's designed by Andrei Kulapayev, and it is published, again, like I said, by Hobby World Games. So that's my number 5, Space Bureau.
Nice. My number 5, I've had since the end of November. Oh, how long have you had this game, Tyson? How long has it been on your shelf?
Well, I mean, it's a collective shelf because this came for the podcast. It's been like a month, maybe 2.
About a month.
When did it come directly into my possession? About 5 minutes before we recorded. But
it's the podcast. So we'll go with a month.
Exactly.
Yeah. We'll go with a month.
All right. So end of November. Something fulfilled. I received my silver big box collector's edition. I have played Silver Eye, which was the 5th deck. I have not played Silver Fang. So that is my number 5. I'm going lightweight this year. I'm going to knock out.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Silver, it's
you should be able to do
you
this.
Start out with 5 cards face down. You get to look at 2 of them. By the end of the round, you're trying to score the fewest points possible. There's four rounds, and
people are messing with you left and right.
Yeah, every card has a different ability on it that either takes place when you draw it or it's face up in your village or whatever. And the game is heavily tied to Bezier's werewolf world, right? With all their other games. So Silver, fantastic game. Got the big box collection. I have yet to play Silver Fang, the 6th deck. That is my number 5.
Nice. My number 4. So I mentioned I got Aeon's End Legacy off of my Shelf of Shame this past year. I got a Kickstarter delivery. I don't remember when this was, but sometime in the past year. Astro Knights Eternity. And I have not played.
I remember when you talked about this when you first got it. It's been a while.
I haven't played it yet. not at all. So I want to get this played. So this is very similar to the original Astro Knights, which I love. I think it's a fantastic version. Very similar to Aeon's End, but it has some differences. It's a little bit more streamlined. I think a little bit easier to get to the table, which is always appreciated. This one has several scenarios that are connected by a single ongoing narrative. Okay, so it's you can play them in order, and new things will be introduced as you're playing through the game. I think that's cool. That's fun. It sounds awesome. I like the system. I think I can get this one off my Shelf of Shame sometime this year. So that is my number 4. That is Astro Knights Eternity.
Nice.
So my number 4. Remember how I started this by saying this is an optimistic list and we should all be optimistic about it? I'm like 90% sure I'm not getting this game off my Shelf of Shame list this year.
What?
But I want to. It's going to be impeded by the people at this table. My number 4 is Ark's Blighted Reach expansion. If I couldn't get Ark's Arkham Horror, the card game expansion off my Shelf of Shame, I am fairly certain I won't be able to get Ark's Blighted Reach off of mine. But I love the base game of Ark's, and it has this 3 scenario campaign that I would just love to explore and start playing in it. Ark's has been on my shelf for about 6 months. I got both the base game and the expansion, but I haven't been able to get the expansion off. But like I said, I'm not optimistic about this one coming off of my Shelf of Shame, but I would love to get this one off.
I've never played Arcs. I would be willing to play.
But that's
probably not
you
with the expansion.
To play the base game before you can play the expansion.
And is it going to be an experience where I play the game and I'm like, I'm not going to want to play the expansion?
People love it.
I don't know. People do love it.
It's a highly...
It's a trick-taking game without any...
It's phenomenal.
Taking of tricks.
There is taking of tricks. You naive little child. Please, it is perfect. You would love it if you gave it a chance.
It's not a trick-taking game.
I disagree with that.
It's a very beautifully designed game.
Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
I will play. It may be my favorite game ever. It could be.
It's definitely your favorite game ever. That's what That's what I'm getting here.
Yeah.
Let's be optimistic here.
I will play.
We are being optimistic. Yes, this is an optimistic episode.
I will play if Greg's playing, and we can all attack Greg in the same round.
I don't think Greg will play. That's the problem.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, that's my number 4.
I think you can do this.
You can do it.
I have faith.
Blighted Reach.
Yeah,
Look at this.
I will help
optimism.
you complete this goal.
No, you won't.
I don't believe that.
I will
will?
play it again. I'd play it again.
Let's do it.
This is optimism.
Yeah.
More than I expected.
Yeah. Okay, I'm actually going with an expansion as well for my number 4. War Chest Nightfall. I got this sometime last year. Backed one of the AEG extravaganza Kickstarters or something where you could order a bunch of different things, and War Chest Nightfall came. Logan bugged me multiple times to play this with him. He loves War Chest. I really like War Chest. Designed by David Thompson, Trevor Benjamin of really good design pedigree there.
They do some good work.
Yes, that's an understatement.
Yes.
This very tactical game where you have a select few types of units that you have available to you that are completely different from your opponent. They all have different abilities, and it's a chess on steroids game. Very tactical. So I would like to get Nightfall to the table, and I think this is going to be very easy.
I don't think you'll have a hard time with it. Like, even if Logan did it, I would play this one with you for sure. Now, I'm one complaint about War Chest, because I just picked up my copy the other day. I think I'll get this one played, and with my son this year. I'm thinking that it's
the base game.
Yeah, he can play the base game this year.
If you can keep the pieces on the board.
But so this is my complaint is that I picked up my copy and I decided to look at the back of it and I forgot how fragile that inside of it is, and I hear the because all the chips inside just fell out of the insert.
Okay, I got you.
Well, it's got a warped board issue.
It's definitely
my copy and your copy, right?
Yeah, and this should be on my shelf of shame list because I haven't even played the base game.
Okay.
I've played it on BGA. But
that counts.
A few. But I think I've said this before. I tried. You bend back the boards just a little bit to get them,
and you bent it.
I bent it a little bit too much, and it creased. I'm like,
I started looking at designs that I could print on a play mat.
You could totally put this on neoprene.
Would be awesome,
right?
That'd be great.
Yeah. And it wouldn't cost very much to do. And that's kind of one of my excuses for not playing Nightfall yet, is because I want to do that before I play War Chest again. So,
nice. Good one. Good
War
choice.
Chest, number 4, Nightfall.
I like it. We're on 3, right? Okay, 3. I have played, and there's air quotes here, this game on BGA one time. That is Space Station Phoenix. I picked up this game about a month ago. Our local game shop, unfortunately, went out of business. They had a going out of business sale. I'm like, I'm just gonna go see what they have. They had this one for a great price. I'm like, I'm gonna pick it up. It is designed by Gabriel J. Cohn. From what I understand, the game starts with you have a large engine, and throughout the game, your engine is getting smaller and smaller, but your actions are getting more powerful. So you have less options, but more powerful actions. You've played this one, Tyson.
I have.
Is that kind of what's going on in this game?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've played this one, to the point where I would need a rules refresh on this one for sure.
Right.
But I remember really enjoying this game. The fact that I saw you pick up a copy of this, kind of floored me. I was like, wait, somebody else wants to play this game? And
I button clicked through our first play on BGA.
That's exactly what I did.
That's exactly why I was like, wait, why did Kevin pick this up? If that was the experience. I'm excited for you to have it, and I will happily play this.
Well, I've been intrigued by it for a while because when we went to Origins, I think Origins, it was getting a ton of buzz 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm like, okay, I'm interested. It's a Rio Grande game. I like a lot of the Rio Grande games, and I wanted to check it out. Played it on BGA. Well, didn't really play it on BGA. Didn't understand.
Push some buttons.
Didn't understand what was going on.
But if you had, then it would have counted.
Yeah, if you understood what you were doing.
If you that's the caveat. If you understand what you're doing on BGA, it counts as getting
There's
it
so
off
many
your
little
shelf.
rules about this shelf of shame list.
Totally agree with you, Tyler, on this one.
Oh, you're on Tyler's.
I'm on the side.
I don't think so. If you don't actually get it off your shelf and put it up on the table and
that's how
play it.
Yeah, exactly.
With other people interacting around the board.
If I can pull the game off and not have to reference the rule book to teach you how to play this game, and then I think I've accomplished my goal of getting it off the shelf of shame.
Absolutely, 100%. All right.
Agree to disagree here.
My
number 3, Space Station Phoenix. I'm excited to get it played. Okay.
Me too.
On the table. Tyson, you're up.
Now, this is one that I actually am very excited about. That it's not one I have had a lot of exposure or understanding of, but we have a copy in this group of a game called Intent to Kill. This is a game designed by Arthur Hodzivkov, and it's published by Hobby World and 25th Century Games. I think there was a recent Kickstarter that went out and just finished with 25th Century Games bringing it here. But we have a Hobby World copy of this game, and I'm super excited to play this. I'm just going to read the BGG entry on this one because I think it'll give a real feel for it. It says, Intent to Kill is a thrilling detective noir game in which you will find yourself in the middle of a police investigation. You can take the role of a notorious serial killer, while the other shall become an experienced detective following the tracks of a criminal. The game is different for each of these roles. The murderer has to plan every step while hiding their motive. The detective has to collect evidence and question witnesses, but not all of them are truthful. A new murder is committed. Each round, the detective can move around the blocks and question civilians that might have useful information. The murderer can intimidate civilians to stall the investigation. The game ends after the 5th murder. This game has a lot of things that I like about it. I love deduction games, and this is a deduction game, right? But it's also it's a one versus many style game in some ways as well, where you're trying to hide your tracks and be able to get, like, if you want to be the serial killer, you're trying to not allow the deduction to happen as well. So I don't know. This game just really intrigues me, and it sounds super exciting. I'm one of the ones that I'm most excited to play. I do feel a lot more optimistic that I will get this one to the table.
We'll get this one played for sure. I've read the rules, and it looks awesome. I love the art. I love the look of it. It seems like there's some good variability. There's a base version that you can play, and then you can add things to it that make it a little bit more complicated. Looks amazing.
Yeah. I'm super excited for it.
For some reason, I thought this was only a 2-player game, but it's 2 to 4.
2 to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can kind of team up as either
the serial killer or the
the
detectives.
The detectives, yeah. But I think it probably is best at 2 players, I would imagine. Haven't played it yet, but yeah.
But yeah, so that is my number 3, Intent to Kill.
My number 3 is another lighter weight game. It has been on my shelf of shame for 1 day. This is the Fellowship of the Ring trick-taking game. If you've played The Crew, where you're playing cooperative trick-taking, trying to complete missions, now you're trying to do it in Middle-earth. This is designed by Brian Baumüller, and the art's fantastic. Elaine Ryan, Samuel R. Shimota. This is published by Office Dog. I also got the promo pack, Gifts of Galadriel, which I think plays as mission 16 and a half. I think there's 18 total missions. Again, you get a character like Frodo or Bilbo, or not Bilbo, but Frodo or Sam or Gandalf, and they have some task that you have to complete during the round of trick-taking based on whatever that goal is, right? And a certain number of people have to complete those goals, or some other thing has to happen. There's missions that you have to complete before you can move on to the next one. I can't wait to play this game. I'm going to have no troubles getting this played whatsoever.
I've heard only positive things about this game.
Yeah,
I think it's hard to find right now. I think people are reselling it on eBay with the promo pack for ridiculous prices.
Yeah, I picked it up as well. So I've got a copy of it. I'm excited to get it played. Yeah. I've also heard it plays well solo.
I have heard that as well.
Which for a trick-taking game, played solo, that's awesome. If that works out well.
I played Wrath of Fire Mountain last night with Logan, and I almost started playing this solo, but I didn't want to experience it first without my family. So, but I can't wait to play this. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. The name implies that we're going to get more, and I think that's already may have been stated. Don't quote me on that, but I think there's going to be more in this series.
And it has an appropriately long title for a Lord of the Rings game.
Right? It's got to be a requirement for the licensing.
Absolutely.
The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings, the trick-taking game.
Yes.
With promo pack.
Yeah, Gifts of Galadriel is the promo pack. So excited.
Did they just send you the promo pack? You didn't have to...
They did. I pre-ordered this a long time ago from Boardlandia, and they were nice enough to send me the promo pack, which I wasn't expecting. So.
Well, if you play the promo pack scenario, you do have to say the entire title with the promo pack in order to...
The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, trick-taking game, Gifts of Galadriel.
There you go.
All right, so put both of those on my shelf of shame as number 3.
Okay, nice. All right, my number 2 is Chronicles of Crime 1400.
Oh, nice.
I have not played this. I love Chronicles of Crime.
This one's been on your shelf for a while.
Yeah, it has been on there for a while. And I looked at it and I went, why haven't I played that? Because I love Chronicles of Crime. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. I love the whole system of where you're scanning cards, you're asking questions, you're trying to figure something out. This one's set, I believe, in the 1400s. So it's kind of...
I mean, the name would suggest that.
That's what I'm saying.
Picturing Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, something like that. It's got a dog.
Yeah.
That's cool. You can ask your dog things and to have them do stuff. I
Where
think.
art thou, dog?
I have any number of these on my shelf, but they didn't make my cut this year.
Didn't make your cut. Yeah. I mean, my family loves Chronicles of Crime. We've played through a lot of the scenarios. I think this one should be pretty easy to get to the table. I'm guessing.
You have all of them?
But it's been on there for how long? So I mean,
So my problem,
couch, really.
my problem is I have too many games, and games they just get lost in the wall of games.
Yeah,
but you've set a prioritization for this one, and at the very least, you can pull a Tyler and play it solo in the last week of this year if you haven't finished it.
There is a theme to the games I'm choosing. Like you can play them solo. Yeah, you can play. Actually, is there? Yeah, Astronauts you can play solo. Captain's Chair you can play solo. I don't know about Space Station Phoenix. Chronicles of
referring
Clank.
to my method of eliminating games in a disparaging way.
He does.
I'm saying it's an accomplishment. It's a feat.
Okay.
And you did it. And I'm saying that has opened the possibilities for others
Do you have
to do.
all of these games?
I do not. So you backed the Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, so I've got them all. And
Right.
I've only played Red View and the base game, and I think we played 1400 once. But I've got Noir, I've got 1900, 2400, Chronicles of Time. It's a great system.
It's fantastic. I love it.
I love Lucky Duck games.
They put out good stuff.
Good family weight stuff.
Cosmoctopus, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fun game.
Divinus.
Divinus,
Loved it.
great game.
Yep.
The kids version of Chronicles of Crime. Kids Chronicles, fantastic,
Yeah.
great. They do a great job. So I fully expect this version to be fantastic as well. Definitely getting it played this next year.
Nice.
Chronicles of Crime 1400.
You can do it.
I can do it. Yep.
Well, you can do that one. I'm very confident in your ability to do that. Just like I'm confident in my ability to get this one off the shelf. Even if I don't get it played with you guys, I'm confident I can get this played with my family to some extent. I'm talking about my number 2, Cthulhu Death May Die Season 2. I have not played my copy. I got my copy. I haven't played it.
You haven't played Season 2?
I haven't even played Season 2 at all. So, like...
Some of the best scenarios are in Season 2.
I'm excited. So I've got that, the Unspeakable box and the Unknowable box, and all of the Season 2 content except for Ithaqua. I don't think I got Ithaqua.
Okay.
So-
So you have
Season
you have
3 and 4.
You have 3 and 4, right?
Sorry, I meant, no, you're right. I said Season 2. I meant the second Kickstarter, which is Season 3 and 4.
Okay. That makes more sense.
I don't have Season 1 and 2. I have Season 3 and 4 from the Kickstarter.
Plus the Unspeakable and Unknowable.
Correct.
boxes. Okay.
Okay, got it.
I filled out my pledge manager today for season 5 through whatever 8 or whatever with this.
Season 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Have I done that? I don't know.
It just barely opened up.
Oh, did it barely open up?
I think, yeah.
So you got it. Okay.
And I added the Unspeakable box. Which one's the first season one?
Unspeakable.
That's Unspeakable.
I
Yeah.
added that because
It's gone
Logan
for a
is... Yes, and Logan got that as a copy for Christmas one year, and he is going to be moving on with life at some point. So I was like, you know what? I want to have that in my collection when he moves to college or wherever he goes.
Yeah, I have
adulting.
I have everything. What bugs me about that Unspeakable box is those stupid overlays. Oh, they drive me nuts.
You don't like them?
No, they don't work. Yeah. They
Maybe
don't.
That was one of the reasons I
second
got it.
batch was not as good because I feel like ours work or his work great.
Yeah, they don't. Hopefully, the one you get is good because they don't work great.
They just don't snap together, or?
No, they don't snap together very well.
I haven't opened mine yet.
So you'll have to check yours out, and see. I've played through the first 2 scenarios in season 3. Both of them are fantastic. I thought they're great. So there's no downgrade at all.
And you did the Godzilla one, right?
Well,
Or sorry, not
Godzilla is coming,
that's the next season.
the big Cthulhu,
Rising.
Riley Rising. We played that scenario. There's very little that's more epic than that. It was awesome. We defeated him. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. The things that they add to this season are fun. The relics. Have you played, Tyler?
No, I haven't.
So the relics make you so much more powerful. But then they have the unknowable monsters or something like that where you can add those. makes it so much harder. So that whole balance is pretty cool.
Well, and I like that it adds a new board, right? Like it adds a whole new sideboard that adds you can play with the unknowable monsters or without them, regardless of whether or not you have the other content. So I could play basically the same rules as season 1 and 2 in season 3, or I can add the unknowable rules to up it up so that it's more difficult and epic and crazy.
Which is awesome because you get 2 more sets of monsters on the board. There's when Cthulhu advances every time they do something, which is really cool. It's just very good additions. So yeah, you'll get it played, I'm sure.
Yeah. So that's my number 2, Cthulhu Death May Die, season 3 and 4, not season 2.
Nice.
Okay.
So my number 2 is actually a slight repeat.
What?
This is on a previous year, last year. Clank Legacy, season 1 / season 2. I'm going to play through both of them.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
I got a whole year to do one of them. How can you do 2?
It's going to happen. These are going to get played. I'm wearing my Clank Legacy hat that came with the Kickstarter for season 2. I'm ready to go.
I want to point out that not only did you say you were taking this off of your shelf of shame, you said you were playing through season 1 and 2.
I think part of the problem was that I didn't get this played. It was at some point I was kind of hoping to play this with the game group. And then at some point I realized that's never going to happen.
No.
And I just need to play this with Logan, maybe my wife, and just get it knocked out. Because by all accounts, Clank Legacy Season 1 is amazing.
It is. I played one.
And I haven't heard as much fanfare about Season 2, but it came out more recently, obviously. It was kickstarted. But yeah, I'm just going to bite the bullet and play this with the family, or just with Logan, because that's the only way I'm ever going to get it played. So I think it's doable. We knocked out Divinus in about a week and a half.
Yeah, you guys plowed through that.
Yeah, so, and we both know the Clank system, so I don't think it'll be too big of a stretch to get this to the table and just get it played. So that is my number 2, Clank Legacy Season 1 and Season 2. The biggest obstacle on my list, but not the one I'm most excited
because it's
about.
Like how many games are in each season, right?
I have no idea. I assume it's around 12.
So
I don't know.
24.
So you're with both of them. Okay, let me get this right. Probably at least 20 to 30 games. You're gonna have
but
between the two.
The first couple are always like 25, 30 minutes. I mean,
and then they get longer.
And then they get longer and longer and longer.
2-player. Logan and I always play games faster. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
He's got it.
I mean, we're being optimistic.
No sweat.
We're being optimistic in this episode.
Yeah,
you got it.
Lift us up, right? We're lifting each other up.
Yeah.
We're not tearing each other down about how they got it done in the last week.
Yeah, none of those comments.
No, that was at the time to be optimistic is looking forward. The time to be pessimistic is looking at the previous year.
I have a suggestion for you, though.
What's that?
Don't wait until the week before we record our next Shelf of Shame to get this one
That
done.
makes sense.
That seems wise.
I mean, that's
on this
valid.
I'm just trying to help.
Yep.
Some of these other ones, you could do that.
Yes, absolutely.
But this one doesn't seem like
I could knock out my first 3 in a night. So, I mean, Silver Fang, Nightfall, War Chest expansion, and Trick-Taking Fellowship.
Another question.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Under the Hill, by the House.
The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, the Trick-Taking game.
Galadriel's Gifts.
Galadriel's Gift. Are you playing the whole thing?
Yeah, why not?
Well, is that what qualifies getting it off your shelf?
Clearly not, because I only played through the tutorial of ISS Vanguard and counted that.
Okay. I didn't know if the rules are changing for you for this next year.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
No, but I am committing to playing.
To the legacy.
I am
legacy.
finishing both of these.
All right.
Okay, cool.
All right. Number 2.
Full confidence that you're going to do that. Okay. We're to number 1. So this is so exciting.
Yeah.
Right. These games, these number 1s are guaranteed to get off our shelf of shame, right? Because they're our number 1s. Yeah. This one, I think it has a good chance because it is by one of my favorite designers. And we've talked about one of his games already. This is Evacuation.
Oh, that's hefty.
It is hefty. It is a weight of 3.99 on BGG. I mentioned it's Vladimir Suchy, published by Delicious Games, and Rio Grande in the U.S. I've looked at this game a little bit. I know you're evacuating one place into another place and doing stuff, and I don't know much more about it, but I've heard very good things about it, and I'm excited to dig in and get it played. So that is Evacuation. Have you guys heard much about this one?
I haven't heard a lot of talk about it, but it's Vladimir Suchy. We just had a whole conversation about this. I'm absolutely interested in it.
Yeah, it's got to have some cool thing that's going to be awesome. I don't know.
Hopefully it's a quicker play than On Mars and Teach.
It says 60 to 150 minutes. The 150 scares me slightly.
It's a wide range.
Yeah, but the 60... Oh, this is also a one-player game. I could get this.
You could knock all these out.
I could get this played solo, right? But no, I would much rather play with people. So I want
to play this.
Yeah,
I do too.
I think we all want to play it. Right?
I think we're all big fans of Vlad.
Yeah, we are. We are. This is one of the last ones that I haven't played of his. I think so. Got to get it played
until he releases more this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure the announcements will be coming soon if they haven't already started talking about what is coming.
Yeah, there's going to be an Essen release or something from him. He seems to put at least one or two out every year. Yeah. So,
all right, Tyson, what's your number one?
All right, my number one is a game that highest anticipated Kickstarter game for a while. It's one I've been very excited about. And just haven't gotten off the shelf. It's Unconscious.
You waited a long time for this.
I did. Unconscious Mind. I waited a while. It wasn't as long as Darwin's Journey, but I did wait a long time for this game. But it's designed by Laskus, Johnny Pack, Yoma, and Antonio Zax, published by Fantasia Games, which I've played a number of Fantasia games at this point, and I enjoy them. It's worker placement based around Sigmund Freud's era and the Wednesday Psychological Society, the group that met and talked about psychoanalysis, right? The whole theory of psychoanalysis was kind of developed through this, which I have a personal kind of attachment to that, having studied psychology and my master's degree was in psychology, and I have personal attachment to this. But not only that, there's a lot of things going on in this game that really excite me. It's a worker placement game where you have these little thought bubble things that have the tip of them point to a specific worker placement spot, and that has this couple of rondels. It has a main board rondel that is really interesting, traveling around Austria.
And then rondels.
Your player board has a specific rondel where you're trying to power up your actions and get more stuff. There's a lot of stuff in here. I've read through the rules of this game. I've organized it. There's a ton of content I have for this game. I'm very excited about it. And this one is soloable, but I've been hesitant to try it solo because, again, similar to you, Kevin, I'd much rather play this game with people, and I think there's a lot here that would be well worth my time. This one doesn't have as big of a range of time, though. It's 60 to 120 minutes is what it says.
Oh, yeah, it's a quick one. But a similar weight.
Yes,
this game looks amazing. You got to love the Andrew Bosley, Vincent Dutrait art.
Well, it's got a shiny sheen to it, and it's a cool.
Looks fantastic.
Yeah, it looks
I've
really
almost bought this game, but knowing that you have it, I haven't. So
wow, that would hurt my soul if you bought it and then we played your copy before we played my copy.
I don't think mine would come with cool potions though, like this.
That's
one
true.
Or
Actually,
little
you got
the base.
The
game?
base comes with
the retail,
but they don't
does?
have the cork in it.
Okay.
They're just plastic vials that looks very similar. All the components in this game are really top quality.
Yeah, I want to get this played. Let's do it.
Yeah, yep. I'm all in on this.
That's my number one, Unconscious Mind.
So we have our first crossover with our last pick.
I know what it is because of the way I said it.
This is Cthulhu Death May Die, season 3 and 4.
Oh, yeah.
That's my number one I want to get this off my shelf of shame.
Yeah.
It's been there for a few months. Could have been there for 9 months, but it wasn't.
It finally arrived.
So, yeah, I just can't wait to play this. Just hasn't happened yet, but definitely is going to happen this year.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can't guarantee I'm going to play all the way through season 4, but definitely season 3, Ryla Rising. It's going to happen.
There's a good chance I get through both seasons this year, but
there's a small chance, depending on who's coming on Saturday, I may have this on the table.
I'm coming on Saturday.
Nice.
Not just because you might be playing this, but I was planning on it anyway.
Nice.
This game's amazing. Yeah.
I have already talked about this extensively and totally agree with you. I'm assuming that if we play either of each other's copies, it still counts.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
That counts.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Not if it's all
now you're getting all the caveats over here.
Do you know what I want to play? I want to play through the Lost episodes.
Yeah.
They look amazing.
Yeah.
You played through some in the Unspeakable box, right?
I think we have tried one.
Yeah. Well, I will say we're playing with Unspeakable box characters. Some of them are very powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah. I haven't even looked at the Unknowable box characters yet.
I haven't either.
But the Unspeakable box has some awesome characters.
I'm like, holy crap. Yeah. They're really fun to play with. So
it's just, I mean, the system, I would love to see, like, they're obviously milking this for all it's worth. We've already got Kickstarter crowdfunding for season 5 and 6. Like, I would still love it to be the whole system to be applied to a different theme or a different IP.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would, actually.
I think, I mean, it could be amazing, right?
It could be. Because the system itself is amazing. Yeah. But I think...
Do you have any like dream IPs or themes that you could see this working for?
I haven't put enough thought into it, but I have thought before, wow, this would be really cool.
I mean, it's a great system, but I love it for what it is as well.
I agree with that.
And I think it works well.
Like the sense of dread and like, this is not...
It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming because there's this ultra powerful elder god. It's like, I think it fits perfectly in that theme, but it could cross over something else.
I just think the system is awesome.
I love the system.
And if it could be tailored to something else, I'd be interested in seeing that. But
I need an addition on my house or something with all the content.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Like I said, I filled out the pledge manager today and I was like, Godzilla. Nope, not going to do it.
Oh, you didn't do it?
Get the free mini one?
I got the free mini one, but I don't get the colossal
the full one.
Oh my gosh.
2 foot one or
when
whatever.
that fulfills, you guys are coming over and we're playing. We're plopping down both Cthulhu and Godzilla and playing that scenario.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait for that.
I will say, when I mentioned it to Shelly, she was like, "You're not going to get it." Like she was. She was interested in it more than I was. I think
that's what Alicia said. She's like, "Oh yeah, you're getting.
You kind of have to get it at this point."
I mean, if you do the delayed payments, which are kind of nice on
Game Found,
it's kind of like putting things on layaway back in the 80s. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or delayed payments, or
it's like
it's
having
a little
a
less
second
painful
mortgage going on right here.
I just bit the bullet and paid for it. But,
I buy a lot of games, and so anytime I can delay the payments on Game Found, I do. Even though I could pay for them, I like that option that Kickstarter doesn't.
Spread it out a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's not a bad way to go. Good number 1.
Yeah, and a great number 2, Tyson.
Thanks.
Yeah. Not on my shelf of shame, but
so that those are our lists. I think I have a more approachable list this year than I did in last season or last year. Some good games on here that I'm excited to be a part of.
My Star Trek Captain's Chair is beefy. Evacuation's beefy.
Yeah.
Space Station Phoenix, I don't know.
Chronicles of Crime is pretty light.
And Astronauts is pretty light. I feel good. I'm going to do better.
Doable.
I'm going to do better than I did this past year.
Yeah.
I'm not confident about that for me. It's
pretty low bar for me, though.
I did pretty well this year.
Is Blighted Reach solo?
That's a good question. I don't...
Because if it's solo, you could knock it out.
I don't think Arcs is solo at all. Like,
yeah, okay.
I think that's part of the problem is that Arcs itself has, because it's trick taker, it has to have.
There's no trick taking. You play a card. Nobody takes the trick.
Well, and trick takers can be solo. The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, the trick-taking game can be played solo.
But we talk about trick. It's not trick-taking. Nobody ends up with the trick in their hand or in front of them.
But that's how it was marketed, as a trick-taking game.
But it is trick-taking mechanisms.
Card placing mechanisms.
that are historically
You're trying to
consistent
one up
with all
someone
trick-taking
else without taking the pile at the end. It's not a trick taker. You're not taking anything.
Well, I agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. That's right. Yeah, there you go.
And I think there's plenty of arguments that have hashed through this.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah. Throw any old label on it, and it'll sell like hotcakes because it's Leader Games, right?
Well, I think anything they sell is going to be. Yeah. You just talked about Cthulhu Death Magni and throw labels on stuff that sells like hotcakes. Yeah. That's come on in a nutshell.
Yeah, for sure. Anything you guys are excited about?
You know, I have one thing that I think is I'm excited about. It's a Kickstarter right now that actually is, at the time of recording this podcast, it's going to end tomorrow. It's currently funded at 2,588%. So it's really well funded, but that's okay. It's a button shy game.
So their goal is like
so they have a very low threshold. Yeah, exactly. But this is Casinoopolis.
Oh,
I love Sprawlopolis. There's Agropolis. There's a number of versions of Sprawlopolis out there, and this is a great game and a great system. It has been done in a lot of ways, but this Casinoopolis has you have slot machines. You're playing in a casino, kind of building that layout of a casino, and it looks actually really interesting and fun. It's standalone. You can have it independent of if you've had Sprawlopolis or any of the other Opolis games, but this is one of the Sprawlopolis was one of the games that got me into button shy games originally, and I love that this system continues to be built out, and I think it is a great game system that anybody would love to try. Great solo or great with a group of people. But yeah, so I'm excited to see that that's on there. Casinoopolis.
So one that I saw the other day that I'm excited about, Distilled is getting a big box expansion called Cocktails.
Saw that.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I feel like this is the time of the year where things start ramping up and news starts coming out. And
it's exciting.
Like I saw the other day, there was an expansion for the Rebel Princess game.
Yep, I saw that. Awesome.
Coming out.
Insta-buy for me.
Yeah, I almost pre-ordered the Toletum expansion, and then I was like, wait a second. And I checked my email. I've already pre-ordered it.
Oh.
But that's coming this year. I don't know. There's lots of things that are on the horizon, I feel like. Both crowdfunding games that are going to be fulfilling soon and new announcements that we're going to start seeing all over the place.
Awesome. I am excited about something. It may be stupid for me to do. So, have you guys heard of Massive Darkness?
Yes.
So there's a Kickstarter or a GameFound going on now. It's another CMON. This is why it's probably a stupid idea. I'm thinking about backing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is this different than the other two Kickstarters for this game?
It is different. So there's Massive Darkness 1. That was not well received.
Not a fully fleshed out system is what it is.
Not well received. Massive Darkness 2
fixed a lot of those
things and was hugely popular, right? Massive Darkness, this is not technically Massive Darkness 2. It's just Massive Darkness Dungeons of Shadow Reach. This game looks awesome. It looks so good. You
got 7 days to decide.
I know. I've got it. I just need to hit submit pledge. Because I've got everything in my card already. It looks amazing. It looks so much fun. And the coolest thing about it is there's different classes, and the classes are just wildly asymmetric. There's like little mini games that you're doing for these classes. They sound really fun, really interesting. It's a dungeon crawler. It's like a classic dungeon crawler where you're looting, you're getting more powerful as you go on. There's a cool mechanic of where if you're in the darkness, there's a darkness die, you get a little bit more powerful. It just sounds really fun and really cool. And the more I play games and the more I get into games, I enjoy thematic dice chuckers. I just do. I think it's fun. It's like a Cthulhu Death May Die type thing, right? Where it's just, there's exciting moments, there's cool things that happen. You have your own character, you're building them up, you're getting more and more powerful. It's cooperative, so you're sharing that experience around the table. My family, I think, would like it. I just think it would be, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
That's
so
awesome.
It may be.
Sounds like you need to hit that.
Yeah,
pledge.
go ahead and do that, please.
I know.
I want to play this.
I know.
2.5 years from now.
I see, that's the problem, right? It's another CMON thing. And it says, when is it supposed to fulfill? I was looking at that.
Maybe 3 years because it's already an existing one they've made before, and they just.
It said, I think it's supposed to fulfill before the next
Heard that before.
Cthulhu Death May Die. But I mean, it's good. See, that's why I'm very hesitant about
shipping
doing
$150
it.
for this?
Probably. That's why I'm saying it's probably a bad idea.
You need to do this because I want to play.
Doesn't it look awesome?
And I can't back it right now, and I want to play it. It looks awesome.
It looks so fun. Yeah, it looks incredible. One of the criticisms of Massive Darkness 2 is a lot of people said it was too easy. In this one, it introduces ways to ramp up the difficulty. Which,
sounds like a be careful what you wish for scenario.
Right. That you may just die a horrible death. I don't know. Anyway, I'm excited about it. I still don't know if I'm doing it, but I'm seriously considering.
I do. Turn your computer over to me and I'll.
Yeah. Well, you want to play it too?
I'll put the hit pledge button for you.
But the sculpts, I mean, it's CMON, right? So the minis are going to be awesome. And
do you know what game of theirs that I wanted to get? They did a pre-order. You can still pre-order it. The Dead Keep.
Okay.
Another CMON game. Just
standalone. Looks
really unique and interesting. And
sounds like the same game that you did with that coffin game, your Halloween one that you did.
Oh yeah. No, this has got tons of miniatures and
different. Very different.
Really cool art. 1 to 6 players, 90 to 120 minutes. Looks awesome.
As much as I get frustrated with CMON, they do some good stuff.
They make good products.
They make good products at the end of the day. Their storage solution is terrible, but they make good products.
Yeah. So, okay, do it.
I know it looks so good,
dude.
It looks.
You
so
can
good.
change your mind later.
Yeah, you could always back out.
Yeah, and
you're selling games.
So here's
BGG,
the thing. I talked to Alicia about it, and she's like, "Yeah, sounds great." But I told her it's probably like $175,
and it probably won't take up that much shelf space.
Currently, it is not $175 in my cart because that's what CMON does, right? And they tack on all this stuff and like, there's cool it's like the upgraded dice for Cthulhu Death May Die.
Yeah.
Those are incredible. Yeah. I only want to use those, right?
Right.
They have upgraded dice for this. I'm like, these look amazing. Of course, I'm going to put those in my pledge. So, I mean, that's what they do.
Yeah, I added more sparkle dice from the Cthulhu Death May Die, whatever they're called. The swirly ones. Yeah, when I filled out the pledge manager, so I added frosted. I added another set of them.
I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that too because I only have one set, and nobody wants to roll the normal dice.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Even though you got like 50 of them now at this point.
I know. Oh, you know what I'm excited about? Back to Cthulhu Death May Die? Those massive dice. Did you get any of those?
How big are they?
They're big.
Are they? Okay. I'll add a couple then.
I think they're big. So I just got the set of 3 black dice.
Okay.
I didn't go for like a full set of the
You're going to have the same exact experience.
I saw those and then I was like, I don't want those, but I didn't know how big they were.
You're going to have the exact same experience as the frosted dice. People aren't going to want to roll anything but the giant ones.
No, you can only use those for the epic moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like when you really need to roll something, like I need a success here, then you pull out the big.
Until you realize they're weighted differently and loaded.
No. Yeah. Anyway,
I can't wait for some of the games to show up this year that are gonna be happening. There's another Daniel Ticini game, Transgalactica, I think coming from Devere.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna definitely get that game.
All over that one. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Love his games. But like stuff, and some of this may not be fulfilling this year, but some of the things that I've got in the pipeworks. Cthulhu Dark Providence, Horror on the Orient Express.
Yep, those both look awesome. I got those coming.
Coloma reprint and expansion. That's been it's been a while.
Yeah. I'm excited for that too.
Raw expansion, Grim Coven. I don't think that's fulfilling this year, but
Grim Coven. Yeah.
Clans of Caledonia expansion,
Yep.
Lands of Evershade. I don't think that's happening this year, but Aetherstone, Flow, Regicide Legacy, Revenant, Luthier. I have a problem.
You got Revenant. I'm glad you got that because I passed on that one.
I'm super excited for that one.
Yeah. You passed on that too,
I did,
right?
but I would
Tyson.
love to play that one.
Yeah, that's another mind clash in the world of Voidfall.
Yep.
So I'm excited for. I love the simple, back to basics type games, right?
We've been hitting a little bit more of that lately. I feel like.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I backed Ascension Legends.
Ooh, yeah.
I love Ascension. I played the heck out of that on
the app,
iPad,
right?
on the app, right? And it's awesome. I love it. So I've got Ascension Legends coming with some of the expansions that they've put out the past 15 years. You know, I went through and played all of them on my iPad, and I picked my favorite ones, and I ordered the physical copies of those. I'm super excited for that to fulfill. I don't know when it's fulfilling, but it's coming eventually.
Yeah, when's the next Dominion coming? You
Probably
said back to basics.
Probably next week.
Maybe he can slow down on the Dominion expansions and go for Moon
Colony Bloodbath
expansions.
I wholeheartedly would support that.
Yes.
Pump out the Moon Colony Bloodbath expansions.
Yeah.
Donald X Vaccarino.
I had to get my own copy of that.
I saw that.
That game is fantastic.
The more copies we have, I'm fine with, because that means the more we get to play.
More opportunities to play.
I'm happy to play it anytime.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. Well, this has been a fun episode. We got to talk about some of the games we've been playing lately, got into our shelves of shame. Hopefully and we all do better than we did. Tyson, you did pretty good on your shelf last year.
Yeah. Well done.
Well done.
The first and only time.
Yeah.
So.
I was terrible. I got a tutorial play in. And Kevin, you were somewhere in between.
I was somewhere in between.
Not
2.
great,
I got
though.
2 of 5, not great.
Yeah.
Room for improvement.
Yeah. I have full confidence that I am going to knock out 5 for 5 this year. But really, it's like 7 for 7 because I
full confidence. You're going to get 4 out of 5 this year.
I want to point out that was a great soundbite for next year's episode.
Yes. Yeah, let's do that. I will happily repost my successes in the future.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Longest Turn Board Gaming Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you want more Longest Turn in your life, please check us out on Instagram. Also, be sure to check us out on Board Game Geek, where you can join our guild, Guild 3947, and check out our blog, where we post all our show notes and occasionally post more detailed reviews. If that's not enough for you, we have a Discord server. If you want to play a game with us on Board Game Arena, join our Board Game Arena group, The Longest Turn. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Tot ziens.
Goodbye. See you later.